My name is Ray Ibarra, and I'm the producer of the multimedia book Conversations with Shark Tank Winners, featuring written audio, video stories with multiple entrepreneurs who have been on the television show Shark Tank. I'm also the owner and of the Sharks and Stripes Conference, which again features Shark Tank entrepreneurs and is dedicated to military entrepreneurs, veteran business owners, mompreneurs. So there's a little bit of everything for each person here.
We saw firsthand what an impact getting news coverage could be for a company. And case in point, we have Heather Safer here. She actually was my biggest story at Forbes, and that story that I wrote about her, it got more than 500,000 page views, and it was picked up on the front on the front page of Yahoo News, and she got more than 1,000 orders in a weekend after that.
Researching what kind of my interests are, and I always liked eating dessert and I liked eating cupcakes. So I'm like, I never baked before. My family never baked, like no one I know baked, and I thought let me try to start baking and see if I learn it by myself, and I did, and I was actually good at it. The one thing I've ever been good at, and I just went with it, and that's kind of how I started the bakery. And
well, my name is Nayah, and this is Gloria. Oh, go ahead.
Gloria Bryant. So personally, I am in healthcare by day, and I'm also a member of a multi-level marketing business, co-founder of Queendoms with Nayah here, part owner of a carpet cleaning service, and amongst other things.
Okay, and I'm the other half of Queendoms. I have a band that I'm with my wonderful husband back there. We're into metal music. We also just established our record label company called True Records. So we're looking to, well, obviously have other than ourselves as artists underneath that label. We have a transportation company. We deal with mentally disabled adults. So we have a contract with the city of Los Angeles and do that. We're very, very, very key with dealing with the community and trying to stay amongst the community and dealing with their issues, which is one of the reasons why Gloria decided to start up Queendoms. We have a backstory. Speaking of stories, there's always a story behind it. We were, I think, both of the same mindset where we wanted to network with like-minded people. And we happened to come across an organization that purported to do that. And things didn't go as we thought in the organization, but we found each other and we realized how much women lack a real support system. You know, not just as a sisterhood or, you know, that proverbial shoulder to cry on, but we need resources. We need places that are events that we could put together, workshops for single mothers that want to become entrepreneurs, women in corporate America that want to leave corporate America and want to, you know, focus on their own stuff, abused women, young girls that may not have the right upbringing or the best resources available so that they can look at a brighter future when they see themselves in the mirror. So we just decided to let's do this, you know. We didn't like what we saw there, and we took that and ran with it.
So in addition to sewing into our own business, we've also sewn into other businesses. We've sewn into violence prevention groups. We've made donations to those types of groups. We volunteer our time. We've done a hike for hunger and homelessness. So that's outside of the women's support group. And we're on to branding, rebranding, and doing other things to help other organizations as well as our own.
Yeah, I think we have this idea where we think that this is not necessarily just for the entrepreneur that already has, because we have been blessed to meet so many other women that have their own organizations. This is not just for well-established women, but I think as a woman in general, sometimes we see the need, we have a heart, we're women, and we want to we're looking for places that we can either be charitable, donate our time, money, resources, or whatever it can be, maybe just share it, you know, give the information to someone else. So we realized that we want to, in that sisterhood that we say that we're about, we really want to incorporate everyone to come together. Like, you can put your brick in and you don't have to be an entrepreneur or have an organization yet. You know, you may find yourself there once you're amongst other women and you see what they're doing and get inspired. So we host workshops, you know, with other organizations. We support them. Like if they're doing something in particular, dealing with young women, young girls, teaching them what entrepreneurship is, we will be there. We have been there just to be that support system in the background to make sure that, you know, they are literally being promoted. You know, we want to promote and celebrate each other as women. And that's what we are.
Wonderful. Well, do you have any questions? Any questions for them about their work or what they do? You know, anything else you might have an interest in here? Because one of the things that I notice about these two outstanding entrepreneurs is that their involvement with the community. That's very, very important. We've all heard it takes a community to raise a child. A village, right? Okay. A village to raise a child. That is so true. We can't stand on our own. We all need to lean on each other at one time or another. And so I'm going to have both of these incredible women speak at my Sharks and Stripes 2 conference and go into more and greater detail, because I always feel that it's so important in the community that people can see you, that they can touch you, that they can have access to you anytime, 24/7 if need be through internet here and technology, but to know that you're there.
Correct.
To know that you're there, to know that you're a real person, that you can sit down, you can have a cup of coffee, you can just talk about life, and not business, but talk about other things. But it's really, really important that we have access to each other. We go into the community and we make it happen. So let's give them a round of applause.
But what we patented was the fact that if you put a portion of cream and then you put a second layer of nitrogen, they float. And they have two phases, kind of like oil and water, right? But they're two phases. They don't mix. So they sit, and where they meet, it's cold and it creates a frozen barrier. And as you break it from the outside, that plows up and raises above the liquid, and then a new layer is formed. And so it's kind of like taking something liquid and creating sheets of thin layers, and then that combines to make a nice, perfect ice cream.
You know, I've always been curious about money, and I think a lot of us have, and we just never really had those conversations. And one of the things when I had children is I really wanted to be able to share that with them. Experienced a couple of things, and those were probably the best learning lessons so that I could stand before you and share. One of them was the market crash of, I'm going to say 2008. For me, it hit in 2009. And then less than 2 years later, I got hit again. I got cancer, right? I'm good now. I don't want anybody to worry. I was really, I'm going to say blessed. It was only stage 1. And I'm here to speak before you. And what that did for me was to empower me to say, hey, you know what? I got a message. And I got to share it, and I got to get out and really do what I believe.
This is Queendoms, and we just wanted to thank you guys for coming out and being a part of this spectacular event. Today we covered entrepreneurship. We actually covered some of the Shark Tank contestants, and we had an amazing, fabulous time here with my partner, Gloria Bryant.
Hello. Thank you guys for coming out. This was a successful event. Stay tuned for our next one with Sharks and Stripes and Queendoms collaboration. Thank you.